This is Monkey World in Dorset, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. Today on Monkey Life. It's been a two-day journey, but the Chilean capuchins have finally landed in the UK.
It's a bit chilly, so we've got to hurry up and try and get them off into the vehicles, and the trip back to Monkey World should be about 45 minutes and then straight into the houses. So the essence here really is speed and trying to keep them warm.
It's treat time at the park, and alpha male Tom is determined to get his hands on them. And there's bad news for Aris in the orangutan house. A couple of days ago, he had a knee operation, but something has gone seriously wrong.
The next morning, he was found effectively in a state as if he'd had, in simple terms, some kind of stroke.
Monkey World has been rescuing primates from all over the globe for 21 years.
I just have a question for the layout of the house now.
But it has never been involved in an operation as big as this one. Rehoming 88 capuchin monkeys from a research laboratory in Chile, South America. It's been a massive task. But today, after a two-day flight, the capuchins have finally landed in the UK. They've been flown by the Chilean Air Force, and on the ground, the military procedure continues.
Very emotional time. This is the end of a long, long project. Didn't know if we would get 88 here fit and well, but I think we've done it. I think we've bloody done it, and they're all going to have a chance to live proper lives again. Perfect.
All 88 capuchins have survived the journey and are looking remarkably at ease. Now they want to get them safely back to Monkey World as quickly as possible.
It's a bit chilly, so we've got to hurry up and try and get them off into the vehicles, and the trip back to Monkey World should be about 45 minutes and then straight into the houses. So the essence here really is speed and trying to keep them warm.
For many of the capuchins, this is the first time they've ever seen daylight. In less than an hour, the capuchins will begin the rest of their new lives at Monkey World. Later, the primate care staff finally meet the new residents, and after a lifetime in solitary confinement, they are amazed to discover that some capuchins are showing signs of natural behaviour.
This one down here has actually started scent rubbing itself with its onion, which is a behaviour you see in wild capuchins.
And it's treat time for the squirrel monkeys. Jelly and ice cream, monkey style. But some still prefer their insects au naturel. The new 88 capuchins will soon be living with Monkey World's 4 existing capuchins. These primates are the most intelligent of the small monkeys, so the park is constantly thinking up new ways to stimulate them. Today, they're placing these cups filled with yogurt just outside the enclosure. So will the capuchins work out how to get to them? First up, it's the alpha male of the group, Tom. And he's here to show the others just how it's done. Tom loves his food, and nothing is going to stand between him and that yogurt. Nothing, that is, except for his short, fat arms. Tom is not a happy monkey. To add to Tom's frustration, TJ has long, slender arms, and he reaches the cup easily. There's only one thing for it. Tom's gonna have to confiscate TJ's yogurt. He is the boss, after all. It's time for Gizmo to have a go. He's the shyest member of the troupe, but he is clever. Capuchins often use sticks as tools in the wild to bring things closer to them, and that's just what Gizmo's doing to bring one of those cups closer. TJ's following Gizmo's lead. He's found a stick that's just the right size. Now he's carefully reshaping it so it's perfect for the job. Tom realises that this is the way to get hold of the yoghurt, and he's found his own stick. Unfortunately, it's a rubbish stick, and he gives up in a strop. Ah well, he can always pinch TJ's stick. He is the boss, after all. At the moment, Tom gets what he wants, when he wants. But he may not be the boss for much longer, because... across the park, the 88 Capuchins have finally arrived to join him and his little troop. But before Tom can meet his new family, all 88 Capuchins will be unloaded into a holding area to recover from their 7,000-mile journey.
Yeah, do you want to go to the big area first or the small area?
What do you want to do? Because we don't know which ones are going to end up in there at the moment.
Doesn't really matter.
So we'll fill the big area first.
I would fill the big and then
Where we go then, let's do that.
The primate care staff have waited a long time for this day, but it has finally arrived. And they are all on hand to unload and look after the vast number of animals. Some of the 88 Capuchins are old and in poor health, so the team hadn't expected them all to survive the journey. But incredibly, they all did. And the primate care staff are impressed with how well they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's obviously the day we've been waiting for, from plans on a piece of paper to actually them all turning up and they're all alive and well and they're all chirping. They're all just such different characters, so yeah, it's such an amazing day and it's great that we finally got there. But we're all positive about getting these animals into groups and the future for them at Monkey World.
The wooden lids and stuff, we can stack them.
This has been the park's biggest rescue ever, so it's an emotional and exciting time.
I think that's everybody now unloaded and we're just double checking everybody, getting them all watered and fed. Yeah, I think we're good. Everybody's here, all 88. Fantastic.
Transporting the Capuchins was a mammoth task, and 30-year-old Gorilla needed extra attention throughout the journey because he had surgery for an abscess in his tooth before leaving Chile.
The abscess that he had in his tooth that was coming up on his face has actually, over the flight time, erupted out. So it's actually relieved a lot of pressure and let a lot of the pus that was trapped up in his sinus, it's let it out. So actually he's healing up really well. He's feeling a lot more comfortable and, as you can see, a lot more perky. So really pleased, he's made the journey really well. He's an old boy. At 30 years old, he's only got probably another 5 to 8 years left in him, really. And, you know, he's taken the journey really, really quite well.
It's taken the team 3 hours to unload and feed all 88 Capuchins. They'll be left here overnight to settle, and in the morning they'll be split into 2 groups. Although they could see one another in the laboratory, the majority of them never made physical contact. So integrating them into social groups is going to be a big challenge.
Some of these individuals are just going to take like a duck to water, being with others of their own kind and perhaps getting a more natural environment here at the park, and others are just going to be so shot away from what's happened to them over their lifetime that there's not going to be a lot of hope for them. So we'll just have to wait and see how each individual pans out. But that's why we took the 88. We wanted to give everybody an opportunity to have a good life and a more natural life.
Despite their unnatural backgrounds, amazingly, some of the monkeys are showing natural behaviour.
This one down here has actually started scent rubbing itself with its onion, which is a behaviour you see in wild capuchins, and we're sort of encouraging the 4 capuchins we've got here. It could be a way of putting an insect repellent on themselves, or sort of a way of protecting their skin a bit, and they sort of bite into it and salivate and then rub the juices all over themselves. Really enjoying it. They sort of go almost into a little trance when they do it.
The fact that these capuchins still retain some natural behaviour is an encouraging sign, and it's hoped that this will help them bond as a group, just like they would in the wild. But while the majority of the primate care staff work into the night to look after the new arrivals, Penny and Colin have been called next door to the orangutan house. 4-year-old Aris is extremely unwell.
Usually Aris is always running around, never lying down. I mean, this is unheard of. This is just not Aris at all. He's just really lethargic. He's just got no energy. He's sleeping all the time. He's not drinking. He's not eating. He's just not Aris, really. He's what more can I say, really? He's just not him.
3 days ago, Aris had an operation to clean a knee injury. The procedure went well, and he had no problems coming round from the anaesthetic, but now he's taken a turn for the worse.
He has little periods of being awake, in that he'll stretch and yawn, possibly even squeak, grind his teeth a little bit, and then back to this situation here. So it's still a case of wait and see.
It's an extremely worrying time. No one knows what has happened to Aris, so vet Mike Nathan is making an emergency visit to the park.
We'll be with him all night, just keep an eye on him, be checking his heart rate every now and again, and also his breathing as well, and taking his temperature, just to keep a close eye on him, and obviously if I can try and coax some fluids down him as well, but at the moment he's generally not that interested in that bit. We'll keep going.
And, coming up, will a tough decision have to be made?
But ultimately, you've got to ask yourself, you have an animal here, if we can't give them a quality of life, we shouldn't let them suffer.
At Monkey World Rescue Centre, Orangutan Aris is seriously unwell. Vet Mike Nathan has been urgently called in.
Well, he recovered, as far as I'm aware, well from the operation. He was a bit doddery in the late evening, and the next morning he was found effectively in a state as if he'd had, in simple terms, some kind of stroke. I think he's had a vascular accident. Something has gone wrong up here, which is almost certainly the result of going through the surgery. Even though the surgery wasn't intense, it was something we had to do. So this is really quite sad and unfortunate. Now, he's left almost in a sort of zombie-like state. He comes in and out of consciousness, and he's getting slowly worse in spite of the things we're trying to do.
The main concern for the team is that Aris is as comfortable as possible, but they're still unsure of how much damage has been done.
Yesterday he still had his knee reflex and pupil reflex, which would, you know, make his chances quite good.
We've got to give him a... You've got to give him a cut-off. We've got to say, this is what we want to see. If he's not improving, we have to say, we're a rescue centre. We are trying to give him a quality of life.
It's likely that Aris has suffered some sort of stroke that was probably caused by a blood clot in his brain. He's having problems swallowing, but it's crucial he's kept hydrated. He's been put on a drip, and Penny is wetting his mouth.
We'll dribble it out, but basically it's to just try and make that mouth feel a bit more comfortable for him. He's not going to take anything properly because he's swallowing and then choking a little bit, but she's going to do some physio with him and try and keep that moving, and we've just shown her the sorts of things you can do, and I think he's better sitting up than lying out flat. If he does lie out flat, you've got to change his position all the time because he'll get fluid then collecting in different parts of his lung, which won't make him a comfortable boy at all.
The team has to make some difficult decisions when animals fall ill, And that's just what they have to do with Aris now.
Ultimately, you've got to ask yourself, you have an animal here that is here because we're a rescue centre. If they can't have a quality of life, we shouldn't let them suffer. And I don't know when if he comes out of this, whether he's going to be brain damaged. If he were human, you'd be giving him time and time again, and you'd be, going for things, because you can put us through all those things, and people will look at that quality of life and say, well, okay, he's going to be confined to a wheelchair or whatever, but we've still got our mental intellect with luck. If he doesn't even have that ability, what are we doing to him? And I've also got to think that the staff here, they know these animals individually. It matters to them what the quality of life is going to be, and none of us want to see an animal who has no quality of life.
This has come about after a routine operation, and it's a shock to everyone.
I'm upset that it's happened. We were very happy with how it had all gone, how we'd all handled it. We went into it for the right reasons. Never happened to us before. I've never seen it in my veterinary career, but you hear about it, it happens. And I don't think that we've done anything incorrectly. So it's very, very sad.
Aris is on medication to try and stabilise his condition. A blood test will also be sent to the lab to monitor his progress. And later, the results of the blood tests are back.
How low is it?
But is there any hope for Aris? Monkey World is home to 3 squirrel monkeys and 14 marmosets. In the wild, they both come from South America, and here at the park, some of them share an enclosure. These primates are very small. In fact, a marmoset isn't much bigger than a human's hand. But despite their small size, both the squirrel monkeys and marmosets have big appetites, especially for insects, and they'll literally do anything to get their hands on them. So today the team have come up with a real treat for them: insects in jelly. This might look horrible to us, but to these guys, this is about as good as it gets. In the wild, squirrel monkeys spend more than half their day foraging for insects. So the team are constantly thinking of new ways to make them work hard for their food. The squirrel monkeys are dominant over the marmosets, so they get to investigate the jellied insects first. Alien is a bossy and curious female. She goes straight to the food, but she's not sure of that jelly, so she quickly grabs a creepy crawly and heads off. The marmosets are even more wary of that jelly than the squirrel monkeys. They're not even willing to pick out the insects. Unlike the squirrel monkeys, who are now all picking their way through the sticky jelly to get to those delicious bugs. These 3 were rescued from a laboratory in Holland, and until coming here, they'd never been outside. Now they spend their days enjoying their specially designed enclosure. It's been planted to attract insects. A squirrel monkey extravaganza. Here they can live and forage as naturally as possible. And even if bugs in jelly is not quite to their liking, it is interesting, and the insects still taste great. At the Orangutan house, Monkey World's vet Femke is discussing Aris's blood results.
How low is it?
They need to ensure Aris's vital organs are still functioning correctly. They can tell this from the chemical composition of his blood.
So the blood results show actually that the electrolytes are all within the normal values, which is great. Things like potassium and chloride and bicarbonate, they're all within the normal values, because sometimes when animals get dehydrated, those electrolytes, they're called, they go off balance and you have to correct them, but they're still fine, so that's good news. But the glucose is a bit low, which is to be expected because he hasn't eaten in a few days. So we're going to give him some glucose as well, but for the rest actually there wasn't very much to see on the blood results. So Aris hasn't gone any worse, but he hasn't gone any better. His mental state is still the same actually.
It's good that Aris isn't getting worse, but he also isn't improving. It's a hugely worrying time for the team. Over the next 24 hours, they'll continue to closely monitor and care for him.
Just a question of maintaining him for the time being until we decide whether he's getting worse or if he's showing any sign of getting better. Any sign of getting better is a positive. If he's just staying as he is, if he's getting worse, it's not going to be fair, and we'll let him go. All right, so fingers crossed.
Come on. Oh, Missy. Can't lose you. You've got one of the biggest characters ever.
And next time, Aris's intensive care continues, but has there been any improvement in his condition?
Half the battle when you're that poorly is sort of keeping the will to live.
The woolly monkey baby finally gets a name. And the alpha male chimpanzees show their troops just who's boss. But could there be an alpha male take over Brewing?
With Paco, he's starting to find his feet within the structure of the boys, and he's finding his way up to the top.
This is Monkey World in Dorset, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. Today on Monkey Life, the alpha male chimpanzees show their troops what it takes to be boss. But could there be an alpha male take over Brewing?
With Paco, he's starting to find his feet within the structure of the boys, and he's finding his way up to the top.
The woolly monkey baby finally gets a name. And after a routine operation, young Orangutan Aris suffered a stroke. But has there been any improvement in his condition?
Half the battle when you're that poorly is sort of keeping the will to live.
Of the 260 primates at Monkey World, many live in established family groups. The park's adult chimpanzees are split into 3 troops. And there is a strict hierarchy within each group, headed up by the alpha male. Becoming an alpha male isn't easy. You have to be good at dominance displays, intimidation, and alliance forming to reach the top. Monkey World's 3 alpha males are Paddy, Hananya, and Butch. And the 3 leaders couldn't be more different. Paddy is an old hand at the job. He's been leader for 18 years, and he keeps his troop in check with spectacular charging displays. And they show him respect through submissive postures and gestures. But Paddy doesn't just bully his group into submission. He's a highly skilled leader. He looks after the other chimps and understands the needs of others, however big or small. And he's very careful to keep the females on his side. That way, he keeps a peaceful troop, and nobody is in any doubt as to who the leader is. Hananya is the youngest of the three bosses, and he's still got a lot to learn about running a chimp troop. He's only 14, but he's slowly discovering the benefits that come with being the boss. More girls, better grub, and lots of attention. Hananya is popular with all the chimps, but he doesn't always display the dominance that he should, so they sometimes take advantage of him. But he's beginning to get there. Over the coming months and years, relationships within this troop will change, and it'll be a test of Hananya's leadership as to how he deals with them. The last of the alpha males is the slightly unhinged Butch. He's in charge of the bachelor pad, where life can go from peace and quiet to mayhem in the blink of an eye. Butch maintains the top spot by asserting his strength and by keeping the other large males on his side. But being alpha male of the bachelor boys is no easy job. Butch has a strong, if slightly unpredictable, personality, and this helped him get to the top of this boisterous group. To stay as a leader, though, Butch is going to have to keep acting like a leader, and that's hard work. But whilst it's tough at the top, one thing's for certain: if you're a good boss, life can be sweet. Later, the alpha males are on their guard. They never know when another chimp might make a challenge to their leadership. It's been a busy few weeks for the naughtiest chimp in the park, 8-year-old Sheamus. And today, he's outside for the first time with his new group, the Bachelor Boys. Sheamus has always been cheeky. There was always the danger that he would push his luck with the boisterous bachelors and get hurt. But Jeremy planned his integration into the group carefully, and, cheeky or not, he's turned out to be a popular addition.
He has so really surprised me. The thing we were hoping for is that the little boy, Sheamus, is a nice thing rather than a bad thing. You know, he might be a pain in the neck, he might be a drag, but because he's a little boy, he gets away with it. Now, had he been more of a older teenager-y sort, then they don't get away with so much. You want to give them a slap. But he's still young enough that you've got a bit of the little boy R factor, and let's play with the little boy, which so far seems to be working.
At the moment, Sheamus is behaving just as he did in the nursery. He's cheeky, boisterous, playful, and a little bit stupid. He's met almost half of the Bachelor Boys, and he seems to be friends with just about everyone. If anybody can persuade a reluctant chimp to play, it's Sheamus. And he's great pals with big male Jimmy. This is going to help Sheamus out as he meets the other top males, particularly the boss, Butch. Which is when his behaviour may just have to change. He's going to have to calm down and toe the line. He is, after all, at the bottom of the pecking order now.
I think at the moment, a bit of a slap wouldn't hurt Sheamus, because, you know, so far everybody's playing nicely with him, and at some stage in his life, somebody's going to turn around and take a swing at him. And I'm really kind of hoping, without wanting to sound spiteful, that it happens sooner rather than later, so that he learns that lesson, because he's going to have to learn that lesson at some point.
But so far, Sheamus is fitting in very well and shaping up to be a perfect member of the group. In fact, all this new activity seems to be tiring him out. Monkey World is home to so many primates that illness is inevitable. Four days ago, Orangutan Aris became extremely unwell after a routine operation on his knee. It's thought Aris suffered a stroke that was probably caused by a blood clot in his brain. Despite expert care, the 4-year-old wasn't improving. As difficult as it is for the dedicated primate care staff, they have to do what's right for the animal. Yesterday, Aris was given 24 hours to improve. Unfortunately, he didn't, and sadly, they had to put him to sleep.
We don't always get the results that we're aiming for, and in Aris's case, we lost him. Actually, in the end, we had to make the decision ourselves that the best thing to do for Aris and his welfare was to let him drift away and to put him to sleep. We didn't and couldn't actually carry on nursing him the way that he was requiring, and his condition wasn't improving and showed no signs of improvement. And between John Lewis, Mike Nathan, and Femke, and everybody working very hard, and all of the primate care staff giving him all of that attention and nursing, he just wasn't responding and wasn't getting better. And he had drifted effectively into a vegetative state. So for Aris's sake, the kindest thing was to put him to sleep. So that's the tough decision that we had to take.
The primate care staff dedicate their lives to looking after all the monkeys and apes here at the park, and this was a particularly tough time for them.
We do sort of follow up on them in the following days and make sure that they're not feeling disheartened, because, you know, there are others out there that need their attention today. So we have to make sure that morale stays good and that they keep focus on all of those other faces out there that need them.
Aris came to the park 3 years ago, and he immediately made an impression.
We're all just going to desperately miss Aris because he was a lovely little lad and quite a character. He was, from the moment he got here, very focused, very strong-willed, but, you know, I guess he had to be, because growing up with a bunch of hooligan gorillas, you know, he sort of had to have a tough attitude or he was going to sink in there, quite frankly. So, you know, he always was very opinionated, quite rambunctious. He liked, you know, tearing hunks out of Jeremy, Jim, or Colin's knee.
But there was also a softer side to Aris. He loved playing with the babies in the orang creche. The 4-year-old had a true zest for life.
He really was an important part of the nursery group, and just, you know, an incredible, lovely character in himself. So yeah, Aris is going to be greatly missed by orangutan and primate care staff and everybody here at the park.
Coming up, it's been 7 weeks since the birth of the baby woolly monkey, and now he's finally getting a name. And after a 3-year struggle, Chimp Han finally becomes a real leader. At Monkey World in Dorset, the structure of the 3 adult chimp groups mirrors that of troops in the wild, with an alpha male at the top. But for one leader, Hananya, it's not been easy. He's only 14, and he's been wary about asserting his authority since taking over. He's been reluctant to step in when the other males tease the females. and he hasn't liked showing who's boss at mealtimes, often letting the other chimps eat first. But now, it looks like Hananiah's finally decided it's time for a change. His second in command is Tico, and Hananiah's showing him that he's definitely in charge and isn't in the mood for any nonsense. This is a clever move. Tico is Hananiah's only real challenge to the leadership, and he looks petrified by Hananiah's display of dominance. Tico's submissive behaviour also shows the other chimps that Hananiah is the boss, and that they too should fall in line. It looks like Hananiah has finally won the respect of the troop. At last, this alpha male means business. Later. Is someone in the Bachelor Boys after Boss Butch's job? Over in the office, there's one little primate who's growing up very quickly. This baby woolly monkey is now almost 7 weeks old, and he's been given a name.
There aren't that many babies, of course, that we've been naming because we don't breed all that many primates. But last week, we sort of came up with a list of names that, the primate care staff had put forward and so on. And we all decided to christen him Paulo. So this is young Paulo. Woolly monkeys are from South America, so a Latin name would potentially be appropriate, hence Paulo it is. Hey, little man.
Paulo had a difficult start in life. He didn't feed from his mum, Kuna, so the team made the decision to hand-rear him.
Good boy.
The staff also had to hand-rear Kuna's previous baby, Julio. But when they were born, these two monkeys couldn't have been more different. Paulo was much heavier than Julio and already had a few teeth. And now Paulo's even eating solids 2 weeks earlier than his half-brother.
He was ready to go and quite enthusiastic. You can see right now I'm mixing up some baby rice with banana with some of his milk, and he just loves his solids. He gets all excited about it, and I have to sort of hold his little hands down because otherwise they go shooting up and I end up with baby rice everywhere, my hair, clothing.
Just like human babies, Paulo is being weaned on a variety of solids from baby rice and bananas to his favourite, juicy grapes.
I used to peel the grapes for the first few days, but now I give it to him with the skin on, and sometimes he eats them down, don't you? And sometimes the skin gets sometimes the skin gets spat out afterwards, but the faces he pulls when he's chewing just crack me up. He's got a little wrinkly old man face, but he's just a baby.
The team looked after Julio for 7 months before he went to live with his woolly monkey family full-time. But because Paulo is developing so quickly, it's hoped he'll have an earlier introduction to life as a woolly monkey.
The sooner he's eating by himself and eating solid foods, the vast majority of his diet, we can get him back in with the group. So this is all very, very good for his future prospects. It means he'll be back with the woolly monkeys sooner rather than later.
Over with the bachelor chimp group, Butch is the alpha male. He's good at keeping the peace and maintains a strict hierarchy. Although his troop respects him, lately there have been signs that Paco might be keen to take over Butch's role.
What we've noticed with Paco is he's doing more displays. Not necessarily at anyone, but you know, he's a big adult male now who really has filled out a hell of a lot. So he's at the period now in his life where if he wants to display, he will just go off and display at anyone. You know, he's starting to find his feet within the structure of the buoys, and he's finding his way up to the top.
Paco has lived with the boys for 2 years now. When he first joined them, he seemed uncomfortable and was nervous around alpha male Butch. Today, he's a very different chimp.
He's slowly but surely working his way through. Even though he comes across a little bit laid back and stupid, he's not. You know, he's a fairly intelligent chimp. And I think he's learnt the politics of the bachelor boys really, really well. You know, it's a difficult group to be in. You have to find your place within the boys. You know, it's boisterous. That's why we got them here. They get on well together, but you have to find your place. And I think Paco has worked that very, very well.
In the wild, most aggression between males takes place when they jostle for position within the social hierarchy. Intimidation through dramatic charging displays is common. How long an alpha male stays in charge depends on several things. Whether the group continues to support him as boss, if there are rival males, or if he gets injured or falls ill. Chimpanzee life is volatile, and squabbles can flare up from nowhere. If there's going to be a fight for leadership between Butch and Paco, it could happen at any time. But the end result could be fatal. It was only 3 years ago the park witnessed this firsthand. Hananya was second in command in Rodney's group. He was displaying as frequently as Paco is now, and it ended with him challenging Rodney for the leadership. Rodney was seriously injured, and despite treatment, the shock was just too much for him. He later suffered a heart attack and died. In the bachelor pad, Butch is still holding on to his position as alpha male, and his group are happy to back him by putting Paco in his place. While the troop continues to support Butch, his position at the top will remain safe.
Butch is still the alpha male of the bachelor boys. He probably will be for a couple more years, 5, 10 years. Who knows? You know, it's a very close thing, and you know, all the primate care staff are keeping a very close eye on it. But at the moment, there hasn't been a definite challenge for any leadership. It's just that we've noticed that when Paco displays, everybody sort of moves out of his way. So that's a subtle change, and subtle changes can suddenly just explode.
It's likely Paco is practicing his threat displays to test Butch's leadership, and his outbursts are becoming more and more impressive. While this isn't an immediate threat to Butch, he definitely needs to watch out for Paco's increasing self-confidence. Butch had better enjoy his time as leader, because he may not have much left. For all the primates here at the park, no 2 days are ever the same, and in the unpredictable world of chimp politics, you never know what's going to happen next.